What's up? Wrestling vs. Family. The purveyor of violence just returned to WWE and absolutely destroyed Bron Breakker on SmackDown in one of the most intense moments of the year. If you're watching this, you already know something insane just went down. Hit that subscribe button now because we're breaking down Jon Moxley's shocking return and brutal assault. Jon Moxley is back in WWE, and he came back with a vengeance. The purveyor of violence, the paradigm shift personified, unleashed absolute hell on Bron Breakker in a display of aggression that left the entire WWE universe speechless. This wasn't just a return, this was a statement of intent. Let's break down every brutal moment of this incredible segment. Before we dive into the chaos, let's talk about Jon Moxley and why his return to WWE is such a monumental moment. Moxley is one of the most unique and compelling performers in all of professional wrestling. His career has taken him from WWE to becoming one of the biggest stars in the industry, and his hardcore style combined with incredible storytelling has made him a legend. Moxley's reputation precedes him. This is a man who has fought in every environment imaginable, from technical wrestling clinics to absolute wars in hardcore matches. His willingness to put his body on the line, his refusal to back down from anyone, and his authentic intensity make him one of the most respected performers in wrestling. When Moxley shows up, violence follows. The rumor mill had been churning for weeks about Moxley potentially returning to WWE. Wrestling fans were speculating, debating, and hoping that we'd see the former WWE champion back where his career began. Social media was buzzing with theories about when and how he might return, but nobody expected it to happen like this. Now let's talk about Bron Breakker, the man who became Moxley's target. Breakker has been absolutely dominant on SmackDown, running through opponents with the intensity and power that made his family name legendary. The Steiner legacy lives through Bron, and he's been proving week after week that he's destined for greatness. But with dominance comes targets, and Bron Breakker had been calling out anyone who thought they could challenge him. His confidence had been growing each week, his aggression reaching new levels, and his proclamations about being the most dangerous man in WWE got louder and louder. Those words would come back to haunt him. The setup for this moment was brilliant. SmackDown was in full swing, and Bron Breakker was in the ring cutting a promo about his dominance. He was talking about how nobody on the SmackDown roster could match his intensity, his power, or his legacy. He challenged anyone in the back to step up and face him. That challenge was about to be answered. The arena lights suddenly cut out. The crowd immediately started buzzing with anticipation because in WWE, when the lights go out unexpectedly, something big is about to happen. The tension in the arena was palpable, fans were on their feet, and Bron Breakker looked around confused and ready for anything. Then unfamiliar music hit, music that WWE fans hadn't heard in years but instantly recognized. The pop from the crowd was absolutely deafening. People were screaming, jumping, losing their minds because they knew exactly who was coming. Jon Moxley was back in WWE, and he was answering Bron Breakker's challenge in the most direct way possible. Moxley walked out onto the stage with that signature look of controlled violence in his eyes. No elaborate entrance, no pyrotechnics needed, just pure intensity and the promise of chaos. He was dressed for a fight, not a wrestling match, and everyone in the building knew this was about to get brutal. The stare down as Moxley walked to the ring was absolutely electric. Bron Breakker, to his credit, didn't back down or show fear. The second-generation superstar stood his ground, but you could see in his eyes that he understood the gravity of who was standing across from him. This wasn't just another opponent, this was Jon Moxley. Moxley rolled into the ring, and before anyone could even react, he went straight after Breakker. No formal bell, no referee's instructions, just pure violence. Moxley threw a forearm that rocked Breakker, then another, and another. The intensity was immediate and absolutely real. Breakker fired back with his own strikes, and these two powerhouses were throwing hands in the center of the ring. The crowd was going absolutely insane watching these two physical specimens just unloading on each other. Every strike looked brutal, every exchange felt dangerous, and the energy was off the charts. Moxley gained the upper hand through sheer aggression and experience. He whipped Breakker into the corner and followed with a massive clothesline that nearly took Bron's head off. Before Breakker could recover, Moxley grabbed him and delivered a picture-perfect snap suplex that shook the ring. But Moxley wasn't done. Not even close. He pulled Breakker up and hit another suplex, then another. We were witnessing vintage Moxley violence, and the crowd was eating up every single second. Each move was delivered with bad intentions, and you could see this wasn't about winning a match. This was about sending a message. Breakker tried to mount a comeback, using his power to shove Moxley away and create some space. Bron hit a powerful shoulder tackle that would have put most men down, but Moxley popped right back up. The look on Breakker's face showed he realized this was going to be different from his usual opponents. The brawl spilled to the outside, and that's when things got really intense. Moxley threw Breakker into the steel steps with sickening force. The impact echoed throughout the arena, and Bron was clearly hurt. But Moxley showed no mercy. He grabbed Breakker and slammed him onto the announce table without breaking it, maximizing the pain. Security and officials started flooding the ringside area, trying to separate these two warriors. But Moxley fought through them like they weren't even there. He had tunnel vision, focused entirely on inflicting punishment on Bron Breakker. The officials were powerless to stop the onslaught. Moxley grabbed a steel chair from ringside, and the crowd gasped. Everyone knew what was coming next. He cracked the chair across Breakker's back with devastating force. The sound was brutal, and Bron collapsed to the ground. But Moxley raised the chair again and delivered another sickening shot. Officials finally managed to pull Moxley away, but the damage was done. Bron Breakker was laid out at ringside, barely moving, and Jon Moxley stood over him with the steel chair, breathing heavily but looking far from satisfied. The message was sent loud and clear: Jon Moxley is back, and he's more dangerous than ever. As medical personnel rushed to check on Breakker, Moxley grabbed a microphone. The arena fell silent, hanging on every word. Moxley's promo was raw, intense, and chilling. He talked about how he built this company, how he bled for WWE, and how he's back to reclaim what's his. Moxley called out the entire locker room, saying that if anyone wants to challenge him, they better be ready for war. He specifically addressed Breakker, telling him that was just a taste of what happens when you challenge real violence. The intensity in Moxley's voice made it clear: this wasn't a character, this was authentic aggression. He dropped the microphone on Breakker's prone body and walked up the ramp to a massive reaction from the crowd. The WWE universe was split between shock at the violence and excitement about Moxley's return. As his music played, Moxley didn't celebrate. He just stared back at the destruction he caused with cold satisfaction. The aftermath showed medical staff helping Bron Breakker to the back. The young superstar was selling the attack perfectly, showing respect for what Moxley did to him. This is how you build both performers. Breakker looked tough for taking that punishment, and Moxley looked like an absolute monster for dishing it out. Social media absolutely exploded after this segment. Jon Moxley was trending worldwide within seconds. Wrestling Twitter was going crazy with reactions, clips were being shared everywhere, and fans were debating what this means for WWE. The engagement was through the roof, exactly what WWE wants. Let's analyze why this return was so perfectly executed. First, the surprise factor was crucial. While some fans speculated about Moxley possibly returning, most thought it was just wishful thinking. The shock of it actually happening created those genuine organic reactions that make wrestling special. Second, the choice of opponent was brilliant. Bron Breakker is positioned as one of WWE's most dominant rising stars. Having Moxley target him immediately establishes Moxley at the top of the card. You don't go after just anyone, you go after the biggest threat, and that's exactly what Moxley did. Third, the violent nature of the segment was perfectly on brand for Moxley. Fans know him as the purveyor of violence, so a brutal beatdown makes complete sense for his character. This wasn't out of character or shocking. This was authentic Moxley doing what Moxley does best. Fourth, the storytelling was clear and immediate. Moxley isn't back to make friends or slowly work his way up, he's back to dominate. The aggressive return creates instant momentum and gives him credibility right out of the gate. Great returns create clear direction, and this absolutely did. From a business perspective, this return is massive for SmackDown. Moxley is one of the biggest names in wrestling, and his presence elevates the entire brand. Ratings will likely spike, Social media engagement is through the roof, and merchandise sales will increase. Stars draw money, and Moxley is absolutely a star. The potential feuds this creates are incredibly exciting. Obviously, Bron Breakker will want revenge for this attack. A full program between these two would be absolute must-see television. The styles match up perfectly, Breakker's power versus Moxley's violence. The matches would be brutal and compelling. But Moxley's return opens up so many other possibilities too. Moxley versus Roman Reigns, the rematch years in the making. Moxley versus Seth Rollins, former brothers renewing their rivalry. Moxley versus anyone on the roster. They're all interesting because Moxley makes everything feel important. Championship implications are obvious too. Moxley is a former world champion with nothing left to prove, but everything to reclaim. His pursuit of championship gold in WWE would be a compelling storyline that could headline any premium live event. Moxley as champion brings legitimacy and excitement. The hardcore wrestling fans are particularly excited because Moxley represents a style that WWE doesn't always feature prominently. His willingness to work stiff, to make things feel real, to push boundaries, that appeals to fans who want their wrestling to feel authentic and intense. From a creative standpoint, Moxley's flexibility is valuable. He can work as a face that fans rally behind or a tweener who does things his own way. His character doesn't fit into neat boxes, and that moral ambiguity creates interesting storytelling opportunities. The best characters aren't pure good or evil. The promo work we're about to get is equally exciting. Moxley is one of the best talkers in wrestling when he wants to be. His promos feel real and unscripted, even when they're carefully planned. The verbal exchanges between Moxley and his opponents will be must-watch television. Think about the match quality we're about to witness. Moxley genuinely loves this business and his passion shows. Breakker is genuinely talented and his selling showed respect. When everyone involved is fully committed, the audience believes in what they're watching. Authenticity resonates. Alright, Wrestlingverse family, we need to hear from you. How shocked were you by Moxley's return? What matches do you want to see? Should Breakker get immediate revenge or build to it? Drop all your thoughts, excitement, and predictions in the comments below. Let's discuss this insane moment. If this breakdown captured your excitement about Moxley's return, smash that like button. Subscribe to Wrestlingverse for continued coverage of this storyline as it develops. Turn on notifications because we'll be tracking every development in this incredible rivalry. Share this video with wrestling fans who missed this moment. Share it with people who love hardcore wrestling. Jon Moxley returning to WWE is huge news, and everyone needs to know about it. Let's spread the word and grow this community. Thank you all for watching and being part of this amazing wrestling family. I'll catch you in the next video where we'll continue following Moxley's path of destruction and all the incredible moments in WWE. Until next time, stay ready for violence. This is Wrestlingverse, and the purveyor of violence is back. I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.